Hey guys, and thanks for watching this DIY video on how to make a coffin. I apologize for the first blank portion of this film, but that is because I had to re-upload this video. Initially in this video, the first portion of my video, I had a naked mannequin in here, and for whatever reason, the YouTube community found that to be inappropriate, so I had to edit that portion out. But anyway, please enjoy the rest of the video, and if you enjoyed this video, please feel free to subscribe, and again, thanks for watching. I was able to locate a bunch of free wood, and this was from an old shipping crate. I spent all last night taking the nails out of all this wood and stacking it somewhat neatly. And, I mean, for free, how can you beat this? This is some excellent wood to do some Halloween projects like this. So, yeah, I'm going to attempt to make a coffin. I'm not the best woodworker. Steel is really my specialty, but I think I have a pretty good idea on how I want to tackle this. So, the first thing I'm going to do is lay out the boards for the back of the coffin. I'm going to tack those together. I'm going to outline the shape of the coffin, and then it's just a matter of building up the walls. Sounds simple in theory, but we'll see how easy this really is. So the basic shape is really starting to take shape here. An important step that you want to take, you want to put at least 2 screws on each board. You don't want to put a single screw. As you can see, I put 3 there. The reason you don't want to put a single screw is in a second I'm about to flip this over, and I'm about to cut off all the excess from those backing boards. Now, if you put a single screw, what you run the risk of is it kind of shifting this way. So by putting at least 2 screws in the end here, when you flip it, it'll maintain its shape and composure. Okay, so I've moved this coffin off the ground. It's definitely a bit easier to work on when it's suspended or a bit higher up, so you don't have to keep bending over. So I plan to make this coffin 2 rows of this pallet wood high, like so. So what I'm doing now is I've already cut, this is going to be the top of the coffin. So I've cut out these 2 pieces, I've screwed on the bottom piece. Before I screw on the second level, or the second row of boards like so, I want to measure out pieces for right in here. So the first thing I'm going to do is, I don't have an angle gauge or anything like that, so I'm going to take a piece of scrap wood like so. In the back here, this is just going to go in here like that. I'm not doing any kind of fancy angle back here, but for this, I'd like this joint to fit up kind of snug. So what I'm doing is I'm just taking a simple pencil mark to try and get this angle. This is going to be a scrap piece first. So I'm going to take this over to my miter saw, and I'm going to play around with the angle of this miter saw and try and match that angle that I just got there. And then after I cut a rough-in piece, then I'm going to measure out the actual piece. Now that I know that I have that proper angle set on the miter saw, I'll cut out that section, 2 rows high of course. Do the same thing on the other side and just progress down along the coffin. As you can see, the casket is really starting to take shape now. I have my first section of wall up all the way around the casket. Looks good. Here's a look at how my joints came out, which they're not perfect. I didn't intend them to be perfect. You know, this is a Halloween casket. With this joint, I'm going to take a rasp and I'm going to file this down. I got the same thing going on the other side over there. Quick note, screw-wise, anytime I'm attaching a board directly to a board, I'm using these screws, which these are 1 1/4 inch, so I could drill down the 2 pieces of wood and the screw won't stick out on the other side. However, for joints like this though, I drill these out and I drive a 2 1/2 inch screw in, so that way the wood doesn't crack, and you know, so on and so forth, so you get a nice strong joint right there. So the next thing I got to do is I need to make some backing strips, put it all the joints, that way I can start putting up my second layer on the edges of this casket. Making good progress on the casket. It's almost complete. Got half of the second story of casket wall up, and I'm going to show you how I've been making these backing strips, or whatever you want to call them, tie-ins, whatever. So for this one was pretty simple. What I did is I took some of this wood, I cut it right down the middle, and that gave me 2 halves. And then I took my rasp down on either side, and I just kept checking to make sure I got the angle pretty close, which it's pretty close. You know, it's not a perfect fit up, but it's, like I keep saying, it's a Halloween casket. As for this one, this is some of the wood that came with the casket. As you can see, there's a bit of a step there. That's where, you know, the steel band used to sit. So what I did, first thing I do is I measure the piece, I cut it out on my miter saw, and then I take this piece over to my bench vise, and I'll show you how I do this real quick with one hand. So bench vise, rasp, and then literally just rasp down. If you have a sander, you can do this with a sander too, but I don't have a sander, I have a rasp. So just keep taking that down and keep checking the fit, and then you screw it on there. Alright, coffin is just about complete. Got all the screws in there. Everything came out real nice. I'm really happy with how this turned out for recycled pallet wood, or shipping crate rather. And this will be a really nice addition to this Halloween float that we're going to be working on shortly. Last thing I got to do is just take my rasp. You can take a orbital sander too, and just take that down real quick, and we'll be in good shape. So thanks for watching. If you like this video, I'd appreciate a thumbs up and subscribe for more.